All work expands to the time that's allowed.
Most agents don't get what they want.
We need to make sure we're doing things that are goal achieving and not just tension relieving that make us feel busy and justified in what we're doing.
All right, so we know like most agents don't get what they want, right? Like they get into the business. I mean, you've told me this before. So it's freedom, flexibility, and wealth. And the bottom line is most agents get 2 out of 3, and they usually don't like actually intentionally pick. They just kind of fall into, they get the freedom and flexibility, and they never make what they want, or maybe they make what they want, but they never really get the freedom that they like. They kind of just like fall into whichever category they get. They don't choose it really articulately. So why is it? Why is it so hard to get all 3 of those?
Well, there's a lot of things working against you, right? When you were sharing that, it reminded me of when I was the full-time breadwinner for our family, and my wife got a part-time gig to kind of bring in some significance and other things. And it was amazing how many times, because I had the flexible schedule, I would be pulled out of the full-time bread-making opportunity to support her in the part-time opportunity that was not bringing in enough money to make it work. Which I think that happens a lot to real estate agents because we do have the quote unquote flexibility. We're oftentimes the one by default that takes the kid to the doctor or picks them up from school when they're sick, et cetera, and all important things. However, oftentimes because of that flexibility, we're putting it as a higher priority, even though it may be what's actually paying the bills.
Okay. So what are some mindset shifts that we can help agents with? So let's say they are frustrated because they're running up against a ceiling. They know they're only getting, 1, maybe 2 of those 3 things. And they're like, look, if I'm going to be in this business and really commit to doing this for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of my life, I've got to figure out a way to get all 3 of the reasons I got into the business to begin with. I've got to figure that out. So what are some things that you can bring awareness around that they can think about?
Well, I think anytime you have a feeling that you choose not to have, get awareness around that. I remember a specific example is 2:00 on a Wednesday, and I'm mowing my lawn, and I felt this guilt and shame around mowing my lawn in the middle of the week.
Okay.
Yet the reality was it needed to get done, and I wanted to do it because it wasn't like blazing hot out. And the reality was I'm my own boss, so I should have the freedom and luxury of mowing my lawn at 2:00 on a Wednesday without feeling guilty about it.
Okay, so you feel guilty at 2:00 on a Wednesday for mowing your own lawn while you're a successful agent and you had you had the rest of the business handled.
Correct. And yet, so when I actually did achieve the ability to do that, I still felt like guilty by choosing to enjoy some of that freedom that I worked so hard for. So it does come back to that mindset of really focusing on your mindset and what's serving you and what's not serving you.
All right. So there's a concept you've mentioned to me before about, what is it? Tension relieving.
Oh, I got a great example for this. My wife and I, we had a little tiff, like some relationships do. Believe it or not, my relationship's not perfect. Imagine that. So my wife was mad at me and she's like, hey, do we have any stamps? And I thought, my chance to be the hero. Stamps? We don't have stamps. I'll go get you some stamps.
Okay.
So I stopped my lead generation because 9 to 11 at the time was when I was lead generating.
Okay.
Went and got the stamp, came back, and it was like 10:30. So why would I just start lead generating again? So what I did was I pulled myself out of what was goal achieving, which was lead generation, to go get the stamps. And my wife, I came back all proud, like all of a sudden we're going to make up and, go have a and, oh, wait, we can't talk about sex. So go back. So I came back all proud thinking, here's the stamps. Okay. And she's like, thanks. And I was like waiting for more. And she goes, thank you. And I was like, I just got you stamps. I just left work to go get you stamps. And this is the response that I get. She goes, well, I didn't need the stamps right now.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And how many times do we make something that's important, urgent, or something that, is tension relieving versus goal achieving?
Got it.
And I think that's where the challenge comes in is we need to make sure we're doing things that are goal achieving and not just tension relieving that make us feel busy and justified in what we're doing.
Okay, that makes sense.
All work expands to the time that's allowed. So think about the agent that's getting ready to go on vacation. Be careful posting your vacation photos, by the way. Another video, another time. Yet I digressed. Think about how much work you get done before you go on vacation because you're getting the most important things done. You're not getting everything done. Yeah. And what I find with agents is what happens is once they identify the 20% that makes 80% of the income, they end up still doing the 80% that really doesn't do much.
Yes, 100%.
100%.
Totally.
And what they really need to do is identify that 20% that makes 80% and subtract out the 80%. Here's a good example.
Yeah.
Email.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I sent 242 emails for the course of the year, which is less than one a day.
Yeah.
And how I got there was I found myself spending hours and hours and hours doing email, where I leveraged that out, had somebody else that could handle email for me. And what do you think happened when I gave up that low leveraged opportunity of doing email and had my assistant do it? What do you think happened to my income?
Yeah, I'm guessing it freed you up to do much more important income generating activities.
100%. I mean, it ended up just multiplying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I had that experience too. I mean, I haven't checked my own email, at least without it being processed by someone else first in years, and it is glorious. It's glorious. Okay, so if you're watching this and you are frustrated, maybe you're hitting a ceiling in your career and you're really going, okay, I don't know if I want to do this for the next 20, 30 years of my life. And if I am, I've got to figure out what the heck am I recommitting to? What is the alternative? We know that you don't have to keep doing the 80% that only delivers 20% of the results. That's an obvious one. But what's the bigger vision here?
Bigger vision is, I think, one of the things that you got to establish is what is your net life income number? And what that means is, if you're not careful, you just continue making more money and creating more bills and more lifestyle and everything else. So identifying what that net life income number is, and then as you start to get margins, you make more money, use that income to produce other revenue streams. For example, that might be a leveraged income, a recurring income from rental properties, doing something to diversify where all of your income isn't just tied to the transactional income of, are you able to show up? And that kind of goes back to when Charlie was born and had to have open heart surgery. At that time, I realized all I had was a job, not really a business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll have to do another video about that because, yeah, that's a good story. So go to connectwithhank.com, get in touch with and get into a relationship and conversation with you, I would say, because you can bring awareness around so many things that they haven't even thought about. The 80-20 stuff is obviously, but there's a bunch of other stuff we talked about in this video series where there are mindset shifts and outside perspectives where they're not going to come up with that stuff on their own. Like there's such a culture in real estate. We solve problems a certain way. And like you said, mostly we solve problems by just going, oh, just get a few more deals.
Yeah. And do us a favor. If there's something that we mentioned and you'd like us to dig deeper on that topic, put it in the comments and we'll most likely end up doing a video on it.
That's right.